It's Monday then. It's Saturday, Sunday. What? So yeah, it is Monday. And we are doing F1 racing in ALR. Welcome back to the broadcast. My name is your beloved commentator, Apollo 22 from Finland. Back again, showing you some what I hope is going to be excellent racing. And with the ever so close title race, we're currently having Tier 3. This could get spicy and interesting as the two leading drivers, X-Robin and Sven the Man, currently even on points at 160 each. The title will be settled between these two drivers, as there is 2 races left in the season, as we headed to Silverstone tonight, and this Sunday the title shall be settled in Austria. So only 2 drivers left in play for the title. Behind them, Osvaldo is looking pretty solid to finish the season 3rd, also present today. Whereas Luke Beus is also present, so he can still challenge for it. 12 points the deficit between the 3rd and the 4th place driver. Casal not too far behind either, just 4 points separating him and Luke. And of course we have your special guest star in a reasonably priced car, or at least budget-wise, as Italian Origo is taking the Haas and trying to show the Tier 2 pace to Tier 3 drivers tonight. Let's see if he is able to confuse the back just a bit. And looks like finally we are set to start with only 13 drivers, but exceptional start time, so that's understandable. So it's all bright and sunny around the Silverstone track from the looks of it. And I wouldn't have it any other way, as the qualifying session is underway. As the first car around the Silverstone track seems to be a McLaren of Lars. Lars T, who has shown some pretty good pace over the course of the last few rounds. Let's see how he has finished the races, so When he finishes, he can finish high up, as is evident by his second place in Qatar. And I've got the confirmation that it will be a sunny race. Always nice. As Italian Arrigo displaying how the track limits at Cops do not work. So, sun is shining, no traditional British weather here today. And we will get a proper scrap for the title, as all eyes of course on Sven and Robin as they fight for the title. But now let's let Rigo take us around the pretty fun Silverstone track. After the Hamilton straight, the first corners taken flat. And Rigo really carrying all the speed and momentum he possibly can through that first sequence. Interestingly, on the medium tires, he might be looking into getting all nice and familiar with the track. As I hope, now that I don't remember all of the corner names, I don't get butchered by the British people in the server. So he might just take him up. Cops, I can remember, Rigo drops a gear and has to lift a tiny bit, but let's blame that on the medium tires. Of course, Maggots and Beckett's, the corner sequence, ever so difficult to get right, but it can also make or break a lap. Right, so into Stowe. Now I got the corner names, so I can be all clever and shit. Into the Vale and Club sequence, and into the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight we come, and Rigo with the first lap of the session 29.8 or 29.9. And Luke instantly trashes it. Then there is Fontana behind, slots in behind of him. MBMA, who had a surprise victory last time out. The reserve driver he is, with a 26.8, is now your fastest driver. Here's Atmo then, who is invalid. First one of the Alpha Tauris is Casal. Casal, 5th place driver. Ooh, nearly loses it at Stowe. And that's the end of his run. So interestingly, Sven also starting on the medium tires. Maybe some tire saving strategy being in play here, as Sven crosses the line with the medium tires to go fastest with a 26.5. So Sven setting the challenge early here. As here's Robin now, heading into the final corner sequence. What can he do? The Mercedes driver, even on points with Sven. Opens up the throttle, hits the curb a tiny bit, and 26.0 tops Sven by half a second after the first runs. But let's remember, Sven was doing the lap on the medium tires, so there is definitely still some improvement. Here's Luke, who heads into the pits, and I think Fontana will follow suit. And Rigo is definitely getting all familiar with the track. Hey Sita, I made it. So the championship contenders locking up the front row early on, but let's see how the session will develop. Track improvement of course being a factor, and of course with Sven having to set the lap on the harder compound and probably save a set of soft tires for the race. Here's Osvaldo, our third place driver in the standings, about to start his lap in the Alpine. Let's see how can he fare. Osvaldo too carrying a lot of momentum through the first corner sequences and into the Wellington straight. Goes purple in the first sector, so maybe Osvaldo's got a trick or two up his sleeve. Let's see about Cobb's corner now. Tries to go flat, has to lift and invalidates, and that's the end of his screen time then. As Lars started another lap, I think he had a moment in the first run because he didn't complete a lap. He also has gone purple in the first sector, so Lars with a solid looking pace. Into the Cobb's corner he goes, tries to go flat and goes a bit wide. I think that should have been an invalidation, but it wasn't. So let's see through Meckett's and Beckett's now. There's a car ahead of him, his teammate. Second sector also purple, so I think we might see a pretty good lap from Lars. Let's see if his teammate gets out of the way and allows him to finish the lap, or will he disturb him with the dirty air? I think he might have disturbed a bit. But Lars T rounds out the final corner to set at 26.9. So not all that fast lap in the end, but I know the driver is a fast guy, he can improve. Here's Rigo, who's practicing. And I think it's the AlphaTauri of Gazelle who is invalid yet again, if I remember correctly, after his first run. And he will head back to the pits again. So Gazelle definitely not getting a start he wanted for the qualifying session here. There's Jay O'Leary about to settle up. Rounds out the final corner, goes extremely wide and sets a 27.1, which is good enough for sixth right now. And Sven is also starting his first lap on the soft tires. Let's see how our championship contender can do it. But first up we will see the drivers ahead of him. As here's Abmo, who is looking to manage to set a lap. Rounds though he comes, carries a good momentum through there. And through the final corner sequence, what can Abmo do? Abmo's had some flashes of pace as well. And Abmo crosses the line with a 26.8 and goes third fastest. A very good lap from the McLaren driver. Abmo flashing his pace once more. Here's Rigo, who's doing burnout supposedly. And here's Grone, who's gone purple in the second sector. Can he improve on his earlier time of 27.9? Grone, who's had a slippery looking rear end for the entirety of the season, has had a fair bit of moments. As Grone Vogel crosses the line and goes third fastest with a 26.6. A very good lap from the Red Bull driver. And Sven has gone invalid, so he will not set a soft time just yet. And this is Osvaldo, who's also invalid. And Robin is starting a lap, so... Hello, Said. What is up, my dude? You could have made it for the comms, so... Even though I wasn't feeling up for it, here I am. Yeah, it's been a rough day. full-time working and studying at the uni is not for the faint of heart. MBMA is on the lap. He's managing a marginal improvement through the first two sectors. Let's see if he can carry this to the line. MBMA goes down to 5th gear in the stow corner. Tries to carry all the speed possible in that Aston Martin. Oh, goes a tad bit wide in the final corner sequence, but MBMA crosses the line to go 26.6. And goes third fastest past Grona by just 2/100ths of a second, but still was able to do so. I think the Alpine pairing is heading towards the line as Osvaldo is about to set his first time lap of the session. Let's see what can he do. Followed closely by Robin, who is seemingly able to set a second run. Let's see what they can do. Osvaldo goes second with a 26.5, and here's Robin, who is managing improvement, and the new provisional pole time is 25.8. So Robin definitely casting the challenge out to Sven now, with just over 5 minutes left in the session. Sven really needs to be able to set a lap, as currently Osvaldo splits the two championship rivals. Here's Casal now. Let's see if he's able to set a lap. From the looks of it, he is, but is it gonna be a fast one? Clips both of the curbs pretty aggressively on the final corners and backs out, so not a particularly good lap for Casal, 28.6 only. As here's Benny now. Let's see what Benny can do. Benny also has had some nice moments across the season. So Benny Bono will cross the line to set the 27.7, only 12 fastest thus far. With the final runs coming up next. Casal has started, I think, yet another fast lap, so let's stick on board with them. And he's turned his ERS off, so he's not setting a lap. He's probably just hurrying back to the pit so he can make just one more attempt with a little over 3.5 minutes remaining in the session. So, Silverstone circuit can get a bit congested in terms of DRS trains through the two DRS zones. Silverstone has Straits of Wellington and Hangar, with the Hangar Strait probably being the better of the overtaking opportunities. As I think the first of the final runs have started, with Rigo leading the way. So Rigo was out early practicing on the medium tires, and now I think this is the first laps he's setting on the soft tires. The tier 2 driver only down in 13th, but with still time to improve. Let's see what he can do. Pretty wide lines through the corners earlier, but still carrying a lot of momentum, so that is of course essential for a fast time round. Silverstone through Copse very nicely, dropped a gear and didn't lift all that much. So is the guest star in the reasonably priced car, Italian Arrigo, gonna set a challenge? He's improving by a whopping 8/10, so he's looking to go somewhere around 10th at the moment, but still more time to be found through the last sector, of course. locks the brakes pretty heavily and clips the curb. That's a mistake that the clock will not like. And Italian Arrigo crosses the line with a 27.0. Ninth fastest for a Tier 2 driver. Definitely not what he would have expected, as Luke has also started a lap now. I think the next person to be on a fast lap is Buma, but he has backed out. So the final runs are starting now, led by Luke. I think is, yes, the first one to have started his final fast lap of the session. So Luke Bayus down in 10th. The driver currently 4th in the standings is managing an improvement of 0.2 through the first sector. And there is an Alpine of either Benny or Osvaldo in the way. Hopefully he will get out of the way. Currently on the racing line. And that was borderline impeding, I think. The dirty air in cops is murderous. Making the car of Luke all understeer. Of course I can understand, because the Alpine is actually on a rush to make the line even. With just 10 seconds left in the session, Benny is not gonna make the line. Whereas Luke Beus is going to. Let's see how will he improve, as Grone and Rigo cannot set a lap. Here's Luke, goes second fastest with a 26.3. So Luke also getting in between Sven and Robin. As here's MBMA, our winner last time out in the Netherlands. MBMA, of course, having shown a great deal of pace, can also disturb the title race. As MBMA will cross the line, it's going to be a fast time of 26.4, goes third fastest. Let's see, I'm trying to seek out Sven. Let's see, Sven now. Can he improve on that lowly 26.5 for him? He really needs to improve in order to have a good starting position. Sven across the line and goes second fastest with a 26.0. And Robin has backed out. So Sven loses this qualifying round to Robin. But let's see if drivers behind of them will surprise. Lars will be the final driver to make it across the line. Lars T crosses the line to go third fastest. Just misses out on the front two. And that will do it. Robin takes the pole in Silverstone by 1.5 tenths over Sven. Sven lost 2 runs on the soft tires, starting on the medium tires earlier in this qualifying session, and then failing to set a time on the soft tires. Loses this first round, but of course it will all be settled only in the race where the points are being distributed. And yeah, Adam, glad to see you in the chat. That was definitely impeding from the Alpine driver. But I can understand Benny's side. He was on a rush to make the line. But anyway, here's your starting order for tonight's Tier 3 race. Robin on pole and Sven just losing out by 1.5 tenths. Lars coming home third. Luke in 4th. MBMA 5th. Osvaldo 6th. Grone 7th. Buma in 8th. Jay O'Leary in 9th. And Abmo will round out the top 10. Rigo will be starting in 11th. Fontenot in 12th. Benny in 13th. Gassel in 14th. And I think that was all. So, Adam, I'm alright. It's been a hell of a day. I've been working, and on top of that, studying too. All day, basically. Just duties. But now, still I did make it to commentate this Tier 3 title race. And Jack, the drivers took a vote because the real life race schedule was on top of the ALR race, so that's why the race was rescheduled for Monday. As it will be nice and sunny for for this Silverstone race. Let's see now. The start will be essential. The run down to the first corner will be essential. The fast corner, the Abbey corner, which will be taken flat. There rarely is room for two drivers to go flat through that corner. And will be interesting. Of course, we're not hoping for any incidents as this title race is definitely on. The two drivers, remember, Sven and Robin, currently even on points. As the 5 red lights come on for Tier 3. It's lights out and away we go. Cannot quite see who got the better of the stars, but it's seemingly Robin. He retains his lead going to the first corner. Let's see now. Oh, there's the first spin already of Lars. But he manages to keep it out of the walls. As Sven and Robin immediately on top of each other. Lars losing out massively on his earlier spin, but of course plenty of road still to go. Robin retaining his lead over the first few corners as we see the tire choices now on the screen. Medium tires for both of our contenders, and let's see further to the back there's plenty of fighting. As Abmo looks like he was stuck on a tumble dryer. Stuck in a fight between the drivers, but everyone seemingly getting off well. Cazell opts for the move for Cops, but backs out just in time. Jay O'Leary goes wide, and that will definitely be a warning. Of course, remember, with Silverstone, traffic limits are definitely going to be a factor to be played, as there's a problem for Fontana, who goes wide and loses a couple of positions, but luckily no real incidents, as Cazell also looks to the inside towards the Stoke corner and makes the move happen on Fontana. There's definitely some problem with Fontana, and he will head into the pits for what I imagine will be repairs. And Sven has made the move past Robin. Sven has made the move past Robin, so the lead changes hands for the first time in this race. Sven with the fastest lap, and with Robin hot on his heels. The title race is definitely on, as we will have to wait this one lap for the DRS to come alive. Round 1 goes to Sven, but Robin inching ever closer, and there's an incident with Booma in the first corner section, but he also gets back on the way, so luckily no need for safety cars here. Sven has taken the lead over Robin, but can Robin retain the gap in less than 1 second without breaching any track limits? Robin gets awfully close going into Mackets and Beckett. Is he thinking for a move into the hangar straight? It all depends on the exit. From what I can tell, Robin has got the better of it. Robin is deploying his ERS. Robin on Sven, the two title contenders. Sven defends the inside. Robin heads for the outside. And Sven seemingly is able to defend this attempt for a move for now. But of course, DRS will be available for the next lap. And all Robin needs to do is to just keep the gap under 1 second. It is absolutely vital. And of course, with MBMA not too far behind, being the fast driver he needs to be careful at that as well, as the two Alpines are currently, or were, pretty close to each other. No swapping places as of yet, and Robin has the DRS open, but wisely preserves his DRS and starts to manage. And he simply needs to keep the gap down in less than a second. Only then he can challenge Sven back. As into the Mackets and Beckett we go. The longer of the DRS straight, the hangar straight coming up next. Who will get the better of exits? Robin clips the cross, and I think Sven will survive this time. Whereas MBMA has deployed a lot of his ERS to retain his gap as small as possible to Robin. And there's a bit of a train now going from 1st to 5th, with Grone also being hanging onto the DRS by his dear life and trying to get out from the lead or the other pack, which is currently being led by the Alpine pairing. So let's keep a close eye on the gaps. Robin 8/10 behind Sven, now 9/10. DRS detection zone is at such an early stage in the braking zone of turn 3. It is pretty easy to retain the DRS and then cut the gap back to its absolute minimum at the Wellington Straight. But of course, with Silverstone having so many fast corners, it is definitely difficult to keep up while running in the dirty air. Sven, I think if he didn't breach the track limits, he was awfully close there. So the track limit penalty is definitely going to be a factor tonight, as we saw a whole heap of invalidations and lap times being deleted left, right and center in the qualifying session. And Robin now opens up the DRS yet again. Will get close, but not close enough for a move. Has a bit of a look on the inside. Sven again going very close to the track limits, using all the width of the track he can. And this fight will stay as is, as there's plenty of fighting around the back. There's been a moment involving Cazelle and Rigo, with Rigo getting past Cazelle there. Rigo starting on the hard tires, running in 10th, trying to chase down Jay O'Leary, with the gaps relatively unchanged. Even with DRS assistance, this is exactly what I was talking about. It can turn into a bit of a sludge fest with the DRS trains and whatnot, as Grone has dropped off from the top for a good bit, as he has a moment with the rear, but saves it this time. Has now to deal with Benny Bono being on his DRS, as Italiano has made a move past Jay O'Leary right before Cops, but that will turn the other way around once we head on to the Hangar Straight very shortly. But I think Rigo might have gotten DRS from ahead. No, he doesn't, so Jay O'Leary is gonna try and attempt to move past Rigo. Goes to the inside, there's a yellow flag, and that is Robin. Crucially, that is Robin. Something has happened to Robin there, and Robin now down into 8th place. Was there contact between the leading pair? I'm terribly sorry that I missed that. But Robin now dropping back massively and has to claw his way back up, with Sven taking a commanding lead in the title race, at least at this moment in time. Or did he possibly lose the rear at Stowe? We can only throw guesses around. I'm terribly sorry that I missed the moment, but Robin now down in 8th, and with Rigo trying to attack him from behind. His title hopes take a big hit there. Let's see if that will be the game changer, as the top 3 now, with Robin having dropped off, is relatively intact. Luke, if he didn't breach the track limits there, it was incredibly close. The exit of Cops is crucial, and MBMA has gotten awfully close to Sven. Is MBMA looking to disrupt the plans to win for Sven? DRS wide open. MBMA doesn't deploy his battery to assist and will stay back, and goes pretty wide there. It almost looked like if he had some steering issue, as he didn't turn all the way to the right. Well, anyways, this race will carry on. Sven, meanwhile, has nearly, thanks to that mistake, has nearly cleared the DRS to MBMA behind, and that would be massive looking at the outcome of the race, because then Sven has the chance to really grow his gap. But at least not right now. MBMA is able to open up DRS, even though the gap is just over a second now. But wow, what a moment that was for Robin. As Rigo is looking to challenge yet again, but stays behind. And Robin has almost like he has lost the pace entirely. He quite cannot keep up with Osvaldo. Did he probably overheat those medium tires when he spun? That we can only guess, because he's not exactly gaining on Osvaldo, and he's having to drive from his mirrors to keep Italiano behind. As Jay O'Leary is the first driver to be penalized for track limits. Robin would definitely need a safety car now, as Rigo is looking to attack, but isn't quite close enough. Here's Abmo, who has caught up to Grona. But nothing doing just yet. MBMA very close on losing the DRS to Sven, but I think he just might have kept it. We will see right now as they cross the DRS line. He just is able to retain it, and MBMA is struggling to keep Luke at bay, and definitely needs the DRS to do so, as Sven is having a great pace, and I think he might shortly drop MBMA off his DRS, or at least once MBMA uses his battery, as he only has in around 30% left. That's a track limits bridge for Sven. I saw it. That might be the second warning. And if there will be penalties in play, that will be absolutely massive if there is a late safety car. As here's Osvaldo looking all pacey and trying to attack Abmo, and Osvaldo has a huge moment with the rear, which will now allow Robin a bit closer and allow Abmo to breathe, who is gonna attack on Grone, but at the last minute thinks the better of it and will stay behind for this moment in time, as the top four have now grown the gap to just under 4 seconds. Not quite sure about the tire strategies, as I didn't do the race in Silverstone this week, or last week I should say. As MBMA has now, I think he has lost the DRS on Sven. Oh, and Sven has a moment with the rear. Loses a couple of tenths there, and yes, MBMA has lost the DRS, but with that mistake from Sven, he's able to stick close by. So are the medium tires starting to drop off? Only after 8 laps, as Robin has made a move past Osvaldo, a deciding move at that. Osvaldo is trying to fight back at him. Side by side the two drivers go, but with Robin having the inside line, he's able to make the move. Osvaldo now deploying the ERS. Is he looking to take the place back before Copse? Osvaldo goes to the inside but backs off at the last minute. And Robin crossed the track limits there, so that might have been a warning to him. Rigo zooms right past Osvaldo after that terrible exit out of Copse. So Rigo up to 8th. And I think that was Robin going very wide at the final corner of the sequence, as Rigo is looking to attack Robin, and with the decisive move he does, up to 7th goes Rigo. And that's definitely disrupting Robin's fight back after that earlier moment, as Fontano is the next driver to be penalized for track limits. So Rigo now slowing Robin down crucially, as Robin would need all the help he can get. MBMA still clinging on with his dear life to the DRS. Is he able to keep it? Yes, he is. And this train will stay as is for this moment in time. Rigo now trying to chase Abmo for 6th. But with the DRS train being full of effect, it is not easy to get close enough for a move. If I was Robin now, I would definitely consider undercutting heavily or waiting for a possible safety car. But that is risky, because if it doesn't come, you will just absolutely end up ruining your race. As Robin is now only 2/10 behind Rigo. Is Robin looking to take the place back? Robin needs to claw back in order to stay in this title fight. Because if we finish as we are, Sven is gonna take a massive step in the title race. And the positions will stay as they are right now. As Sven, I think, is gonna be able to break the DRS on MBMA. Yes, he is, because we are heading to the measuring point, which is located in turn 3, where we are right now. There's the line, and the gap is over a second, and Sven has broken the DRS. And this will now definitely allow Luke to attack in the Alfa Romeo, to attack the reserve driver, that is MBMA. But 6/10 being a little too big of a gap to think of anything clever in the Wellington Straight. What about Abmo then? Will get close, as is Rigo, but nothing doing. And as Robin has had a mistake of some sort, I think, because he has dropped away from the DRS. But if fighting ensues ahead of him, that might allow him to get back. But those medium tires are definitely not looking all that good on Robin anymore. Maybe he should consider taking it to the pits and undercutting the entire field. As here is now Abmo, gets a better exit than Grone. Will he attack? Yes, he will. Deploys the ERS, and with the DRS assistance, relatively easy move. And Abmo is up to 5th now. But with Grone, having yet another slippery moment with the rear. Robin heads into the pits, and so does Luke. And Robin takes the 5-second penalty for speeding. Yet another setback for the Mercedes driver. And that is adding salt to the wound after that earlier moment. It is not looking good now for Robin, who has now to serve a 5-second stop and go penalty if he stops one more time in case of a safety car. Which I think he should hope by now, so he can get rid of that penalty. But Robin, being the second to last of the running cars, whereas his title rival Sven is running away with it, has broken the DRS on MBMA, is looking very strong on pace to win. So if we stay as we are, let's see who has the fastest lap at this moment in time. Once I freaking find that. There we go. So Sven with the fastest lap. I think that might not be final, as the drivers will stop on the medium tires, and the fastest laps will be written all over. Sven still stays out on track, doesn't cover Robin and is undercut. Whereas MBMA heads to the pits and doesn't take a penalty, so MBMA is now crucially trying to undercut Sven. And with MBMA being the only driver to pit at this moment in time, let's see where will he end up. So Robin is only at the hangar straight, as there is a cavalcade of other drivers pitting as well, of Lars, Bouma and Luke. Lars and Bouma. Luke, of course, pitted last lap. Let's see. Oh, and Jay O'Leary has a spin. So the medium tires after 12 laps are not looking all that good, and Sven, from the lead of the race, should consider pitting as well. Jay O'Leary gets going again, and there's no need for safety cars. As crucially, MBMA ends up behind Luke, so the undercut has worked wonders for Luke. And now MBMA with the cold tires is gonna have to try, as there's plenty of track limit bridges ahead of them. Luke is now gonna try and inherit the lead from Sven when he decides to pit. And if I was Sven, I would pit right now in order to prevent the undercut from working. And Sven will head on to the pits. Will he take a penalty? No, he will not. So Sven from the lead of the race, crucially now pits, and let's see where he will rejoin. Abmo and Grone head into the pits as well, and Benny Bano will inherit the lead of the race. The Alpine driver will bear it out on the hard tires. If there is a safety car, he will be very strong. Cazell, after that rather disastrous start, is now going to be our third place driver. But let's see now. Here is Sven heading out from the pits. Luke now in the final corner. I think Sven should be rejoining relatively easily in the net lead. But let's see, because Sven will have the cold tires and will be slower for a bit. So Robin says the fastest lap of the race with the 29.7 isn't all that far behind of MBMA and Luke, but does indeed have that 5 seconds, so that will affect his race, remember. And Sven is back in the net lead with a 22.7 second gap. So Luke did gain a position during the pit stops, but not quite enough to be thinking of the net lead. And Robin has definitely catched up, so maybe that tire change did help him. Maybe that medium set was just ruined after his moment in the Stowe corner. But Robin has to literally push for his life if he wishes to catch those three. The pace has been very strong for these tier 3 gladiators. As Rigo now pits from second to go on the medium tire, and is of course going to be relatively fast going towards the end. Cazal will follow suit, whereas Benny Bano will still stay out. And Fonte now picks up yet another penalty. And Jay O'Leary heads onto the pits as well, so no moves there, even though it seemed like it. And back up to the second position goes Sven the Man, with the gap being 20 seconds to Benny Bano. But from what I can recall, the pit stop around Silverstone, because of that especially lengthy pit lane, takes a lot of time, and there's all kinds of hairy moments where Rigo will rejoin just behind of Grone in 8th. The medium runners didn't pit all that much later, or sorry, the hard runners didn't pit that much later, apart from Benny, who is now losing time to Sven, so he should probably consider pitting if he wishes to finish high up. And with the gap being relatively unchanged, that 2.7 seconds separating Sven and Luke, with MBMA lurking behind, with Robin haven't really caught up to the guys. Has used some of his ERS as Benny now pits from the lead of this race. Let's see where he will end up, as Luke and MBMA are now fighting for net P2, which will become P2 after they just cross the finish line. So Sven back on top, and MBMA takes the fastest lap. Remember, the fastest lap is all important if it ends up for Sven or Robin. So Robin is in 4th after the round of pit stops. Benny rejoins just behind of him ahead of Abmo. So Benny really working the strategy beautifully to get atop of this train, but now with the medium tires really needs to push. So 2 key points. Robin, having that moment in Stowe corner earlier in the race, dropped in 8th position. Then I think his medium tire set was all but destroyed, lost time, headed into the pits, took the 5-second penalty, and is now only in 4th, as MBMA picks up a track limit penalty now. So that will allow Luke some breathing room. Of course, only if he can keep MBMA behind on track, and even if he doesn't, he still needs to retain that 3-second gap. This is absolutely crucial for Robin. How bad will these two guys fight for the position? Luke kind of defends the inside line, and MBMA doesn't dare to go there. And these positions will stay as they are for yet one more lap. Grone is now all on top of Rigo. But Rigo able to stay ahead once more. As there's a fighting for the final positions as Jay O'Leary, Bouma and Fontana are caught up in this bit of a three-way. Fontana goes wide. Jay O'Leary is looking to the outside, but decides the better of it in the end. And the gaps have now settled a bit with MBMA, the only driver having the DRS assistance in the top 10 at the moment. MBMA must be kicking himself after that penalty. I mean, he is still looking to contest the podium, but Luke now needs to take a penalty if he wishes to fight it on track. But Tier 3 has kept it relatively clean. No safety cars, not too many penalties, apart from Fontana, who's been the penalty king this fine evening. As MBMA now only 2/10 back, deploys the ERS. DRS wing wide open, and that's a relatively easy move for MBMA to take home net P2 on track, but now needs to pull a 3-second gap over Luke in order to finish in that second position. And Sven is currently probably enjoying his time on the cockpit, as while these two have been fighting, he has managed to gain a second over it and is now looking very strong to take home the win here in the British Grand Prix and really solidify his position in the title race. As Lars and Casal are fighting really hard, Lars has spent all of his ERS with only a mere 10th separating the two drivers. Lars goes for a deep dive in the turn 3, and he's able to get the car stopped on time and inherits the position as of now. But DRS will be open for Lars, so he did get the DRS assistance as he crossed the DRS line behind Casal, and back up to the points positions he goes. Rigo in 7th is looking to attack Abmo here, and MBMA crucially has broken the DRS to Luke, so he's looking pretty strong to pull the gap. And Robin has come back from 3 seconds to now only 1.8 seconds with 8 laps remaining, and that's Benny Bono out, and that's a safety car! That's a safety car crucially, and now Robin can pit and serve his penalty, pick up the soft tires. Sven did miss the pit entry, so he has to stick with it with the hard tires. So this will get very interesting here late, as MBMA and Sven miss the pit entry, and into the pits the rest of the field will come. Benny Bunno lost his car and hit the wall, and that will be that late safety car, which will be absolutely devastating for MBMA. But now Robin is able to serve his penalty. The real question is now where he will rejoin. How much positions will he lose? Pit stop done and dusted, and he will end up behind the train on the medium tires. Why did he pick the medium tires? Everyone else, as they should, are now on the soft tires. So Robin, was that an accident of some sort? Puts himself into a especially difficult position now. He doesn't have a penalty now. And of course Sven, having missed the pit entry, now on the hard tires, has to hold up the entire pack, with Luke, also the driver, along with Jay O'Leary, picking the mediums, interestingly. But with only some 5-6 laps of racing ahead of us, definitely should have picked the soft tires. for this final stint. Maybe they didn't have the new ones or something. But this is gonna mix it up, and of course with Sven, those hard tires are relatively new, but of course not as grippy as the mediums or the softs behind. Let's see how can he push on those hard tires, but this has put Sven into a handicap positions. Technically he could pit, but he would lose the track position, and he won't. So Sven and MBMA will stay out. Sorry, MBMA will pit. MBMA will pit, so he doesn't risk it with the hard tires. So Sven now the lonely driver to having missed the pit entry, and the only driver to be on the harder tires for the final stint. And I believe the safety car should be in after this or the next lap at the latest. But let's be real, MBMA now pitting, by pitting now, has effectively put himself out of the podium contention. He has that 3 seconds and is now behind the entire pack. He's the second to last of the running cars. Probably will not be able, especially with Silverstone being such a DRS train of a track. Well, it's gonna be difficult at least. He has shown good pace and probably will be able to claw back. So Benny, your TV turned off mid-corner. Well, I mean, call it a happy accident if you will, but this race has just gotten a whole lot more interesting, as Robin doesn't have the penalty now. He served the 5-second stop and go. Is now in 6th with the new tires, whereas Sven at the top has the old hard tires. And the pack is back bunched up together. The safety car should be in this lap. Yeah, Benny, it's a shame. You had good pace there, and you could have probably contested for a podium even, or a top 5 finish at least. But here we go. It's gonna be 6 laps of race. I don't know. I'm terrible at math. Apologize. Anyways, it's gonna be 5 or 6 laps towards the end. Sven leading the restart. The only driver to stay out on the worn hard tires, with all of the other drivers in the pack now on the new either soft or medium tires. Second to last race in the season. What can he do? That green bar, we will wait until he lights it up, and I think he will do it in amidst the final corner here in order to catch other drivers napping. He's gonna go at the absolute last minute, and here he goes. He catches Luke napping just a tiny bit, but not by much. Let's hope for not too many incidents here as away we go once more for the British Grand Prix. Robin, having dropped off a bit from Grona and Rigo, as there's plenty of fighting. Cazell goes extremely wide, loses a whole ton of positions. Oh, Lars has a bit of moment with the rear, but is able to keep it pointing in the right direction. Fontenot zooms past with 1 hour of penalties, so he's not going to be an issue. Robin has to fend off Oswaldo now with the medium tires, as there's plenty of fighting all over the field. Admo now getting up to 3rd. Grona and Rigo going side by side. There's yellow flags, and that is Cazell. Cazell has spun, but is able to continue once more side by side. The 2 drivers go. Grona and Rigo, 2 cops unscathed, and Rigo is up to 4th. But the racing will continue as Oswaldo and Puma have a massive crash going into Peckett's, and that's another safety car. That's another safety car, and that's crucial for Sven. The less time he has to defend that top step of the podium, the better it is for him. And I think it might be that way. We will only have 3 laps of racing towards the end. And into the pits goes Rigo, and Lars follows suit. That will allow Robin to go up to 5th position now. The bad news for Robin is that this will also help the drivers in the soft tires to keep them at absolute pristine condition towards the end. And Abmo and Grone now in the 3rd and 4th position. They will fight each other, and that will cause headache to Robin. He needs to clear them ASAP once the green flag racing gets out underway back again. Didn't quite see whose fault that crash was, but I could imagine it was Osvaldo's, as he stuck his nose to a place where it should have never been, and that caused the drivers to synchronizedly crash relatively heavily into maggots. I remember a real life incident with Daniel Kvyat with his rear suspension failing. I think that was a good 20G impact on its own, and that would have been as well if this was real life. But good thing the pixels went hurt. As Lars interestingly picks up a 3-second under safety car conditions. On the hard tires even, so that's not helping his endeavors. As the safety car supposedly is going to be out for one more lap, and then when we get back underway, it's lap 23. It's going to be 4 laps till the end, so a couple of laps of racing with the DRS. And once we wait for the racing to get back underway, I'm gonna tell something completely off topic. I actually did some karting this Saturday, or last Saturday I should say, and my arms are freaking killing me. I did place on the podium though, so it was nice. But anyways, predicting the outcome of the race, I think Sven will be able to keep hold of a podium at least. Luke might contest for the win, as he's shown a good bit of pace. I think Abmo and Grona are gonna fight each other, and I have no absolute idea whether or not Robin can convert those mediums into an overtake. I don't think the softs have suffered too much, as the 4 laps that have been completed on the soft tires, only half of it was in green flag conditions, so they should be good as new, as the safety car now should be heading into the pits. Let's take a quick look at the penalties. So, as I suspected, Fontenau with a year of penalties, 12 seconds, that will drop him out of the points for sure, unless there is some incidents behind of him. Other drivers penalized. MBMA has clawed his way back to 7th. Jay O'Leary and Lars in 10th and 11th with 3 seconds respectively. As we are once more ready to start racing at the Silverstone track, the safety car will enter pits. And it will be a 3-lap mad dash to the finish. So 1 lap the drivers will be able to use DRS assistance to make the pass. And Sven goes very early. The safety car is in the pit lane and Sven is already gone. He nearly has stopped Luke by a second there. And Luke catches Abmo napping. Clever tactics from Sven to try and catch the other drivers off guard, as they pretty much have. So the gap's pretty wide here early. We're still on board with Robin now, who has to defend off his teammate. if Fontana would be a good teammate now, he would just defend from MBMA. Whereas Robin is trying to catch on to the drivers ahead of them. There's been yet another incident. That's MBMA spinning round and round. That's real unlucky. He was looking to contest the podium, but is indeed effectively out of the contention now as Jay O'Leary, Osvaldo go side by side. They touch, but Osvaldo is able to make the move stick, and back up to the points goes Osvaldo. Well, let's see now. The ever interesting fight for the title will resume once more. Luke with 4 seconds behind Sven. How much life is in those hearts for Sven? Luke is using all of his ERS here and retaining the gap under 5/10. One more lap of racing, which we gotta do before the DRS comes alive for the final lap of this British Grand Prix. And we will see how this all will turn out as the drivers are very close to each other, and that's Apple, and that's crucially Robin. That's Robin, who's dropped out of the points. Robin now in 11th. I don't know if whether or not he hit Abmo under braking there going into the fail corner, but that will probably destroy his hopes for a title. God damn, that's very unlucky. The second incident, Robin managed to claw his way back, but isn't quite able to fight till the end, as there's plenty of fighting between Fontana and Osvaldo. And Osvaldo gets past, and there's contact from Fontana. That was naughty. That's a clear as day penalty, but that's allowed Robin to get back onto the points. Maybe Fontana trying to do the bulldozer roll to allow his teammate back into it. Anyways, turning our attention back to the front, we're about to head to the hangar straight for the second to last time. Luke, with the much newer mediums, deploys the ERS, but isn't quite able to get close enough to Sven. Is Luke gonna contest for the win? He's looking very good to do so, as the DRS will be enabled for the final lap, as Rigo crucially takes a 3-second penalty this late, but has the gap to Casal, so he might just be able to retain that podium positions as Rigo takes the new fastest lap of the race. But let's see the fight for the win. Sven with the old hard tires, is he able to keep Luke behind? Luke with much more ERS. The first of the 2 DRS straights coming now. Is Luke gonna risk it and try and overtake this early on the lap? No, he isn't. He opens up the DRS but wisely stays back. He's got the tire advantage. This move is his for the taking. He just needs to keep very close by and avoid taking a penalty once the drivers get to the hangar straight, where we can still see a desire for the win of this race, as Luke uses a bit of his ERS to get extremely close. They need to be extra careful now not to take any penalties, as into the Mackets and Beckets we go for the final time. Sven the men, Luke Bayus, they are the 2 drivers to settle the title or the win. Sven gets the better of the exits. Luke opens everything he's got, but I think he just might be too far back to think of a move. Yes, he is. He only has a couple of corners to think of a move, but I don't think he has what it takes to take the British Grand Prix win here. Sven into the final corners with the Warnhards, even after that setback, even after that missed pit entry. Sven the man crosses the line and wins the British Grand Prix with Luke just behind of him. Kassel has made a move to 3rd and will finish in 3rd, as Rigo pits interestingly for some reason, and Robin will come home 6th. Robin will crucially come home 6th to score only 8 points against the 25 for Sven. The title's not decided, but it is very close as we head into Austria next week. Or this week, I don't fucking know. So it's Sven the man picking up the win. And the crucial deficit now. The dominant hold on the title is just able to keep Luke behind for the win. With Luke nicely finishing second, with Castle behind in third. Booma with a nice fight back to finish fourth. Grone fifth. And boy, that is unlucky for Robin. If there was contact, because I think Fontana was missing a wing. Did he possibly tap his teammate into a spin who then hit Abmo, who had to retire from the race? But anyways, heading into Austria, this is how we will stack up. Sven the man with 185 points against X-Robin with 168 points. So, you might have listened to me trying to do some math during the safety car, so I'm gonna try and do some more math now. Sven needs to finish 6th in order to win the title. No, wait. It's either 6th or 5th, and of course it will depend on where Robin finishes. Robin has no other choice but to win the final race when we head into Austria. And with the AlphaTauri's picking the double podium here, I think the Constructors' title race is all but settled now. I'm too tired to calculate what is the deficit between the two teams, but I think AlphaTauri are your Constructors' champions for Tier 3. And next week, when we head into Austria, we will have the decider for the driver's title. It's going to be exciting. But crucially, Robin, his strong form, which he displayed in the middle of the season, picking up multiple wins in a row and stuff like that, strong performance one after another, is now seemingly gonna get washed down the drain. But will it be that way? Will Sven be your driver's champion in Tier 3 here in the Season 13? That we will find out next week. My name is Alupallo, and thank you for tuning in for the stream. Make sure to tune in for next week as we decide the title in this exciting race. But for now, I wish you all good night.